Hey everybody, good morning. So I just want to give you some solutions to 9D1. With me, as always, is my baby Cora. Say hi, Cora. Say yeah. So if she wants to chime in on anything mathematically, then she might have the microphone also. But I just wanted to talk to you about what I've posted. As you can see here, what I've got is a whole bunch of actually they're screenshots from my TI Inspire calculator. Let's see if I can actually pull that up real quick. Yeah, let's check this out. So here's what it looks like. If you can do row operations, you can take one row, multiply it by something. So for example, in order to produce all these, I took in this. Let's see, take a look at this one right here. So I took, as you can see, a matrix. I took the number -1 and I multiplied it to row 4 and added it to row 1 so that I would get a 0 right here. Um, you can, if you have a TI Inspire, you can do that also. I think you can also just, but like if you're looking to just check things, row reduce echelon form will, you can take any matrix, type it in, and it'll just give you the answer. But if you wanted to do it, excuse me, individually, row by row, 0 by 0, 1 by 1, you can do that. So that's what I did in order to get all these screenshots. And of course, I think the best way to do it, if this is the first time you're doing it, is by hand. And so, like if you're looking to get good at this, and if you were looking to study for a quiz, for example, you want to make sure to do it by hand because on a quiz you wouldn't have access to a calculator. So um, I say all that to kind of talk about what I'm doing and what you can do and what you can choose to do. We do need to show work in some way, so um, please make sure you're doing these, at least a few of these by hand, and because if you just type the question into the calculator and hit enter, you're not showing any work. So let's take a look at number 1. This is kind of what they give you in matrix form. They give you a system of 2 equations and 2 unknowns, and this is what the augmented matrix would look like right here. And so, another thing that I wanted to talk about was that these highlighted numbers are like the next number that I find on what I'm calling the roadmap. So you can see what I really like to have is a 1 here, and that's what I get on the next step. In order to get it, I multiply the top equation by 4. Sorry, divided it by 4 in order to do that. So the top row, I've got uh, divided by 4 to get here, and then I've taken this top row and I've multiplied it by -3 and added it to the bottom row to get this 0. And then I produce this 1, and then I produce this 0 with all the adding and multiplying matrices. So you can see the roadmap I've highlighted. The first thing I want to do, there's already 1 here, and then I want to get a 0 here, and I do that by taking the top row and multiplying it by -2 and adding it to the middle row, row number 2. And that's how I produce 0, this 0. And then I do a similar thing to produce this 0. And then I do a similar thing. See, I think what I did here was I divided, in order to produce this 1, I divided the middle row by -5. So this divided by -5 is 1. This divided by -5 is -1.6, and that's where the decimals start. But actually, the decimals are not that bad. Um, there's only 1 digit of decimals that, like, it's not an repeating decimal. They all terminate after the 10th digit. So just went with that, and then eventually you get the answer. Number 9, kind of also straightforward in the same way, except when you get to here, when you try and create a 0 right here, you actually notice that the entire equation completely drops out. So the third variable r is you're never going to find out what r is. That's because it's a dependent system. There's an infinite number, and there's also an infinite number of solutions. So because they drop out, it's 0, and then in addition to that, you can also say that there are an infinite number of solutions. Number 12, this is a 4 by 4 system. So there's 4 unknowns and 4 equations. So it's a 4 by 5 matrix. So it'll also include the answers over here. And you can see it's the textbook kind of wrote it in, I guess, They could have been a lot meaner with a 4x4, but there was lots of cancellations early on. They give you a system that starts with lots of ones anyway, so you can see this is what happens in this week of the answer. Anyway, there it is. Email me with questions. Keep up the good work, and I'll see you around.